Snow White, a tale of envy, innocence, and immortal beauty. Prologue. In a kingdom rimmed by jagged mountains and blanketed in deep forest, a hush of snow fell silently over the land. The wind whispered secrets through frozen pines, and in the high towers of the royal castle, a queen sat by her window, stitching silver thread into velvet. She pricked her finger. 3 drops of blood spattered on the white snow upon the ebony window frame, and with a wistful sigh she whispered to the falling snow, "If only I had a daughter, with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as this ebony frame." And as though the heavens had heard her, she conceived. Months later, her wish came true. Her daughter was born, with skin like milk, lips like crimson roses, and a cascade of black curls. They named her Snow White. But the queen did not live to raise her. Her breath faded like frost on a window pane. Grief fell over the kingdom like a shroud. Chapter 1. The Queen of Ice and Mirrors. In time, the king remarried. His new wife was regal and cold, a woman of icy beauty and vanity sharper than any blade. She brought with her a mysterious possession, an enchanted mirror framed in dark, twisted silver. Each morning she stood before it and demanded, "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And the mirror, bound by truth and magic, always answered, "You, my queen, are fairest of all." But time moves like a river, unstoppable. Snow White grew from a quiet child into a radiant young woman, her beauty luminous, unblemished, and untainted by pride. She was kindness personified, her laughter like birdsong, her spirit like sun-dappled woodland. And one day, the queen heard the words she feared most. "You, my queen, are fair, it's true, but Snow White is fairer than you." The queen's heart twisted. Envy, green and writhing, took root. Chapter 2. The Forest of Betrayal. The queen summoned the royal huntsman, a weathered man loyal to the crown. "Take her to the forest," she commanded. "Kill her, and bring me her heart in this box." The huntsman obeyed. He led Snow White deep into the woods, away from the palace gates, far from the marble halls she had called home. As they walked, she smiled and spoke of deer tracks and the scent of pine and how the trees seemed to breathe. When they reached a secluded glade, he unsheathed his dagger. His hand trembled. Snow White turned and looked up at him with trust in her eyes, eyes that knew no betrayal. He fell to his knees. "Forgive me," he choked. "I cannot. Run, child. Run and never return." He fled, leaving her alone beneath the darkening trees. Snow White, heart pounding, fled through the underbrush. Twisting branches clawed at her dress. Strange howls echoed in the distance, roots reached for her ankles. The forest came alive with fear. But finally, at the edge of exhaustion, she stumbled into a clearing. Chapter 3. The Cottage of 7 Hearts. Nestled among the trees was a tiny cottage, as if plucked from a child's dream. The door creaked open. Inside, the house was small, tidy, and peculiar. 7 little chairs, 7 small bowls, 7 neatly made beds, each embroidered with a name. Snow White, weak with hunger, took a few crumbs of bread, a sip of water, and collapsed across the beds. At twilight, the owners returned, 7 dwarfs, each unique in manner and mood: Doc the wise, Grumpy the skeptic, Happy the joyous, Sleepy the dreamer, Bashful the shy, Sneezy ever sniffling, and Dopey the gentle mute. At first, they were alarmed. But when Snow White woke and told her tale, they were moved beyond measure. "Stay," Doc said. "We will protect you." And so she did. Cleaning their home, cooking, singing, and laughing, the forest became her sanctuary. For the first time in months, she was safe. But danger does not sleep. Chapter 4. The Poison Queen. Back in the castle, the queen once again posed her question to the mirror. "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And the mirror answered, "You, my queen, are fair, it's true." But Snow White lives, beyond the wood, in the home of 7 kind and good. Rage, cold, calculated rage. The queen donned the mask of a peddler woman and forged a poisonous plan. First, she disguised herself and offered Snow White a lace corset. The girl tried it on, and the queen pulled the laces so tight she fainted. When the dwarfs returned, they cut the laces and revived her. Second, the queen returned with a poisoned comb. She stroked Snow White's hair until she collapsed once more. Again, the dwarfs came home in time to save her. Third and final, she crafted a flawless red apple, laced with a sleeping death. One bite would seal the girl's fate. In the guise of a kind, hunched farmer's wife, she offered the apple. "One bite, dear. Just one. You'll never taste sweeter." Snow White, wary yet polite, took it, and as her teeth pierced the red skin, she fell lifeless to the ground. When the dwarfs returned, it was too late. They wept, they mourned, they could not bear to bury her radiant form. So they made her a glass coffin, set it in the glade, and stood vigil day and night. Forest animals came, birds sang songs of sorrow. Time stood still. Chapter 5. The Prince and the Awakening. Months passed. One day a prince rode through the forest. He had heard tales of the sleeping beauty in the glass coffin. When he saw her, his heart ached, not for her beauty alone, but for the purity and sadness she seemed to carry even in stillness. "Let me take her," he begged the dwarfs. "Let her lie in my halls under my care." Reluctantly they agreed. But as the prince's men carried the coffin, they stumbled, and the cursed piece of apple was dislodged from Snow White's throat. She gasped, her eyes fluttered open. And the forest sang. Epilogue. A kingdom restored. Snow White and the prince returned to the castle. The wicked queen, unaware, again approached her mirror. "Mirror, mirror, on the wall." But before she could finish, the mirror spoke with a voice colder than death. "You are no longer the fairest, my queen. The one you sought to kill now reigns. She is alive, beloved, and crowned." The queen shrieked, but her power was broken. Her mirror cracked. Her beauty faded, and she vanished into the shadows of legend. Snow White married her prince under skies of gold. The dwarfs were honoured guests, seated at the head of the table, weeping tears of joy. And so, through sorrow and darkness, betrayal and love, Snow White's tale endured. Not for her beauty alone, but for her courage, her compassion, and the truth that no envy can bury a soul that shines.